Hello and welcome to your physical geography class. This is a class from the New Brunswick curriculum, and it's for grade 11 and 12 in New Brunswick. So if you actually are seeing this, it's because you have the link to come here, and you're supposed to be here. So that's great. So let's start this. So, what is physical geography? Well, physical geography is a science-based course that examines the planet Earth in great detail. It counts towards your science credit that is needed for graduation. So yes, it is a credit class in science. So if you're looking for a science credit, there you get it. It's where you get it. It is referred to as a study science. So it is somewhat different from the other sciences like chemistry, physics, biology, and all of that. Those are so-called pure science. And the physical geography is a study science. So it's not the same. We don't work exactly the same. We work a little bit different in the sense that, you'll have to do a lot of reading, research, and cross-referencing, and all that magnificent, really interesting stuff for some. And this class is built as a brief overview of many different sciences, explaining how the Earth works as a system. In short, it's we're not going in depth in all of the science, but I will be talking about chemistry, I will be talking about physics, I will be talking about biology, I'll be talking about all kinds of different sciences. So what will we study? Well, in simple terms, we look at planet Earth, we examine its origins, composition, its systems, and how human activity affects each of these parts, because we do live on this planet, no matter how we look at it. So we do this by examining the big picture. Where did the Earth come from? How does weather work? And also smaller picture of its individual parts, like water system, atmosphere, erosion, plate tectonics. So all of this work together. So it's easier to understand earthquakes, for example, if you know how the Earth was formed. That way, it gives you a better idea of how it works. So that's why we go into the smaller individual parts. And then we have that explained or a little bit more understood, I'd say, with the bigger picture in there. So it's a mix of the two. So what will we study? Well, basically it's broken into 9 units that are all interrelated, of course. You will have to do a research paper. I'll explain that later in a different video. And there are assignments, cases studies to be completed, all of that to earn the credit. So basically, that's what it is. So take a look at this. What will be the topics that we will see? Well, first off, we'll start with Unit 1, nature of physical geography. So in short, what is the purpose of physical geography, the why and how? We start with an overview of what is physical geography, basically. So we identify the concepts of physical geography. So what is the rule of the game? So what's going on? What's that? What is basically physical geography? What is it? And that's what we are looking at in the first unit. In second unit, we're talking about Earth in space. So we're talking about the structure of the universe. We're talking about location, origins of the universe, solar system, and of course, when I talk, and I remember here, I've had a lot of comments about the origin of the universe. Um, this is not a theology class, it's actually a science class. So we're going with whatever is there. It's not going against any specific religion, it's just going really about science and what science know about this. So just so you know. And the Earth's movement and measurement of location and time. Like we're dealing with different things like that. Like why do we have a 24-hour day? Stuff like that. So that's little things like that we see. In Unit 3, it's the structure of the Earth. So the internal structure of the Earth. So what's in there? Because it's a little bit more complex than, oh, we walk on the Earth, so we know. No, under. We know. We know different things. The asthenosphere, the mantle, outer core, inner core, all that you might have seen depending on the teacher you've had. You might have seen this in different classes. Maybe not. Continental drift to plate tectonics. So we know that there's earthquakes. We know that moves, right? So the Earth crust is in motion. We just don't feel it because we are on it, and especially where we live, there's basically there is no major fault line around New Brunswick. There's plenty of smaller fault lines, but the big that you can see maybe in the Pacific, in the West Coast, for example, stuff like that, and around Japan and all that. So we don't have those here. See, we're right here. So there's different things that will happen to here because of where we are, etc., compared to people that live, for example, in BC. And little things like that we cover there. Unit 5, map, photo, and satellite imagery. Yeah, we use maps in geography. A lot of people are going like, oh, are we going to do only maps? It's only one unit, and we're not doing maps. We are trying to interpret them, to use them as tools, as we do in physical geography, because those are tools, and that's what we need to understand. So we'll do that. We'll even sketch simple maps, stuff like that, super simple, nothing major. Anybody can do this, believe me. I'm not good at drawing and I can do them, so anybody can do that. And also to understand the capabilities of modern technology to gather geographic information. We'll be seeing different things, satellite imagery. I'll be talking about LiDAR, which is basically a radar with laser that goes through the forest, for example, to give you a good to give you that. So anyways, things like that we see in Unit 5. So no, we're not going to do maps only on this. It's Unit 5, only a part of Unit 5 even. So that's the thing. And the different maps too that we'll be talking about. Now, shaping the land also, because when you see the land as it is, when you see where you are, where you live, the different mountains that you have, or seashore, whatever, you know that this has not been like that all the time. Things have happened. Things like weathering, erosion, deposition. So depending on where you are, maybe some of this is an everyday thing that you absolutely know. For others, maybe not. So it depends. If you live in the middle of the city, an apartment, never look at the shoreline, for example, um, then it's going to be new. And we'll be talking also very basic about rocks and minerals and different things and how certain rocks react to certain things. And that's why we have a different landscape. And we'll be talking about the atmosphere. That's in Unit 7, the composition and structure of the Earth's atmosphere, how the sun heats the Earth and the atmosphere, how that goes, and different climate and why, and because of the atmosphere, the jet stream, and all of that. Very nice, interesting stuff. Fairly short here. And we'll be talking about climatology, so climate, how the climate has changed through time, why deserts, for example, are mainly here and here. I know people will go like, this is not a desert, this is a North Pole. Well, it's a cold desert because it goes with the definition of what is a desert. So anyway, so that stuff like this that I'll be talking about into Unit 8, sorry, Unit 8. And in Unit 9, well, this is a different one. This is really depending on time. If we have enough time towards the end, which I would love, but if we don't, we don't. But if we do, that's the theme approach that we call it. And a theme approach is something that is a little bit different. So this unit, if we have time again to do it, would be towards the end. And it requires all students to have enough knowledge of physical geography to be able to analyze different and sometimes controversial subjects and data. So if you have stuff like, I don't know, is climate change a fact or fiction, right? So you have two factions there. So there's a group on one side that say, well, look at this data. It's obvious there's climate change happening. And people on the other side say, well, look at this data. It's obvious climate change is not happening, right? So this is what we need to do. We need to be able to be mature enough to analyze those with a neutral view, with no bias as much as possible. I know it's hard, but we need to do it, and we need to do it that way. So that there's some people that call it debunking theories. I don't like that. I don't like that term of debunking because it already assumes that your side is right. And this is not how it needs to be analyzed, right? Because it needs to be really, I call it analyzing different theories using science and the scientific method. So if you actually are using science and the scientific method, you're analyzing it, you're looking at it, you're making sure that your data is good data, right? Even if it doesn't go with your idea of what it is, because sometimes it may just be something that will prove that your idea is not good, no matter what the side you're on, right? And then you can actually say, oh, well, okay, then I have this knowledge of this, so I understand it this way, pretty much that. So this section requires, of course, maturity, being able to debate different subjects without letting emotion take over your judgment. This is so important on this unit, because I will usually, what I do is I take the opposite of your stance. Like, for example, to take the same one about climate change, if you go and say climate change is real, I'll say climate change is not real. And if you say climate change is not real, I say climate change is real. So that is the idea why it needs to be that way. And if you ask me after that, I'll tell you what I think. But just for the sake of your argument, and the reason for this is that I want your research to be done well. I want it to be sound, to be able to go against the other side with intelligence and being able to say, yeah, I know my point is solid. I don't go with emotions and I don't go with the rest of the crowd of this side. I understand this way, and this is what it is based on research, right? So, and that's what I'm trying to do, and that's why it's so important, this part here. Um, I've had debates on debates, yeah, on different things, and it was really fun to do because it was done with maturity. So, and I mean, at your age, you're in grade 11, 12 here, you are able to do that. It's not like you're in I don't know, grade 6 or something. You actually are able to do that. And even in grade 6, actually, even in grade 6, some can. So the theme will vary depending on classes, of course. Like the example I give here is one of the many examples. So it can range from climate change to weather modification, depending on the interest of the class. So I usually go with those two are the most common ones that I see: climate change and weather modification. But if you guys as a class want to have a different theme approach, well, sure, I just need to know beforehand so I can actually do the research if it's not done already, right? So that's the thing there. But aside from that, that's pretty much that. So this is a very interesting unit, depending on the class. There's some I remember a couple of years that I could not do this. I just could not. Like the group was not mature enough. There was only a few mature individuals in there, but the majority were not. So it was impossible to do. So I just go with that. So what do I need in this class? Well, 3-ring binder to keep handouts. At the very least, I'd do a tang with pockets, something to put your stuff in. No spiral book with all your subjects in, please, because you will have a lot of handouts if we're in class. And if you are doing this on a computer, for example, if you're doing it from home, be sure to have a folder where you put all the info in that folder, because it's going to be a lot. You're going to have a lot of reading to do, a lot of things to do like that. So just be ready for that. So of course, pen, loose leaf, paper, good note-taking skills. That is so important, that you are able to take notes. And by taking notes, I'm not saying rewriting everything. I'm really saying taking good note, right? So it's not rewriting everything. When you take notes of different things, you don't rewrite everything. You take different parts of it that will help you study, understand, remind you of different things. Okay, so that's a difference that, well, I kind of hesitate to say that, but you should be able to take notes. Some teachers are teaching that in grade 9, 10, 11, 12, but not all the time. So that's why if you don't know how, ask me and I'll help you out with that. And of course, work hard and smart. Okay. Why do I say that? Pretty much, people think that The more you work, the better it will be. The longer time you spend, the better it will be. It's not always the case. Sometimes you only need to um, have a routine of different things, right? So that's it, and it varies per person, but be sure it's not an easy class. It's not what we call a bird class, far from it, but it's because it's a more general sense type of class. We're not going in depth. So because of that, we're seeing a lot of little things everywhere. And in some cases, it might be hard because you need to say, okay, I'm going to do something about biology. But sure, problem is biology need chemistry. Chemistry needs physics. All of that, right? So that's exactly the reason why I'm saying that's work hard and smart. Okay. So that's how it works. Syllabus, well, just see the handout. I'll be giving that to you at one point. Um, and internet access, of course, please. If we go full online, which is always a possibility, please be sure to have internet access and be able to follow the class. That's basic. And Teams, I will be communicating on Teams to provide the links, the info, certain handouts, etc., etc. So be sure to be on Teams. All right. So how will I be evaluated? Well, the assignment is 20%, research paper is 10, the tests will be 25, midterm is 10, and usually my midterm, depending on how we can do this, yeah, it may take a different format. Usually people like my midterm because they're not that hard. I'd say that. So discussions is important. It's actually key to this class. So including in class and on Teams. So be sure to participate. Okay, if you are participating in a discussion, would it be on Teams or in class or whatever, be sure, because it's 10% of your marks right there. Say, oh, 10% is not that much. Well, if you're 50, it is a lot, right? So be sure to participate in class, in the discussions, and like I said, on Teams and all that. And the final exam is 25%. And finally, classroom and online rules. Be respectful to me and others. That's a minimum. I'll be respecting you. I expect the same. That's it. So be on time when in class, and even online if we go online. Like I said, be responsible enough. If you're not there for whatever reason, I don't know, you did not wake up that morning or that afternoon, I don't know. Just be responsible enough to come back and as the questions go, like all the classes will be online, so you know that you can actually go on the ones that you've missed and just go over it if need be. Be responsible enough. If you don't get it, if you don't understand, if you're not sure, just ask the question, right? That's so key. But unfortunately, it's not everybody that is doing that. But whatever, I'm saying, okay, please do that. Scent free, of course. The school is always scent free. If you're in school, if you're home, well, that's irrelevant. Extra help as needed. Yeah, that simple. Ask for it. If you need help, if you don't understand a concept, whatever it is, if you're not asking me or somebody, whatever, but if you're not asking, when you need help, you won't get the help. I'm not in your head. I don't know, right? I don't know what you understand, what you don't understand, and it's too late after the test. It sounds so basic and logic, but like I said, it's not everybody that gets it. So be sure to ask for extra help as needed. And unlike previous years, you are now responsible for your own learning. I will help, but I will not baby you, right? So before, you could come in a classroom, like, let's face it, this pandemic that we just went through here in 2020 has made us realize a lot of things. And with education going, a lot of it online, you have to be responsible for your own learning. You cannot just come in a classroom like you've done before, maybe, or maybe not you, but you've certainly seen people do that. Come in classroom, sit down, wait till the bell, and then leave with no learning in between, no even interaction in between. Well, this now is not possible anymore. You can't do that. You can't do that. You have to be responsible. You have to be responsible for your own learning. So if you don't learn, it's not going to be the teacher's fault, because all the info is available. The links are provided. You have to do it. And if you don't understand something and you don't ask the help, it will not be happening. That simple. Okay. And like I said, I will help you. Oh, for sure. If you ask me for help, I'll be there. I'll be helping you, no problem. But you're no baby anymore. You're no kid. You're not in grade 3 or 4 where you need a lot of external support. You need just a little bit of support. And the rest of it, you're young adults for most of you, right? Or on the verge of being young adults for others. But you're young adults. Well, show it, right? It's basically, that's what it is. There's no words. I have no words for this except just show them. Show that you're young adults. If you don't know something, ask for help. I'll help you out, but I will not necessarily baby you all the way out. Not going to do that. Okay, so hopefully this little overview will help. And well, with this, I'll say see you in another one, in another of our little units.